Hello there, welcome to another video. So this is the third and final video for today. So this is my 10 favourite episodes of the Steven Moffat era. Now, admittedly, that some of these are a two-parter stories and what I think about them and other stuff. So in the long run, my favourite episode, this is my 10 favourite episodes that Steven Moffat has written himself. Now, I think Moffat was not the worst kind of show, and I still think that is basically John Nathan Turner from the McCoy, well, from the Colin Baker McCoy years. But as a whole showrunner, I think Steven Moffat had a lot of struggle going on by writing Doctor Who and Sherlock. So this is my 10 favourite episodes that Steven Moffat has written himself. So, coming up in 10th place. So, as you can see, the very, very long picture I just put up. It is no other than The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. I do love this two-parter. I just find this episode such a really, really classic episode of Doctor Who. Steven Moffat did so well with this. It's absolutely amazing. I love the whole kind of spookiness it has with The Empty Child, how it's turning other people into gas mask zombies. There's just some other stuff as well, like this is a two-parter, which is The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. Now, this is the very first kind of two episodes Steven Moffat actually ever written for Doctor Who in the modern run, and he did it so well with Christopher Eccleston, Billy Piper. He's the one that introduced Captain Jack Harkness into the role. Introduced Captain Jack Harkness in this episode. It's just done so absolutely brilliantly well done. I just absolutely love it. In 9th place here is no other than World Enough and Time and The Doctor Falls for Peter Capaldi. I just think he wrote this episode so well done. In fact, it's so particularly one of my favourite episodes from the Peter Capaldi run. Well, it's my favourite episode of the Peter Capaldi run, but he's done it so well because he knew Peter Capaldi was actually leaving the show. Peter Capaldi has always wanted to fight against the Mondasian settlement, so in a way he brought it back. So I'm going to put this on, literally, I'm going to talk while the picture is literally showing. So having two versions of the Master and the Cybermen, it's just done so brilliantly well done. The sacrifice of Belle, where she dies and turned into a Cyberman, is absolutely fantastic and a brilliant idea. The way the Doctor loses somebody because it's basically Missy's fault, and I'm surprised the Doctor didn't actually blame Missy or the Master for this, because it basically was Missy's past version that did this to her, so aka the John Sim version. So I'm surprised the Doctor's not really angry about that, especially when we see the Chester 1 version of the Master. I would have thought the Doctor would have showed anger for that. But this episode was done so brilliantly. 3 different versions of Cybermen, 2 versions of the Master. What's not to love? So in 8th place, it is no other than the Saigon Invasion two-parter. I just absolutely do love the Saigon two-parter. I think it's such an iconic kind of episode of Doctor Who. I mean, when the Saigons came back for the 50th anniversary episode, Day After the Doctor, which is in this list as well, by the way, I think the Saigons were a little bit wasted in that, so he brought them back, showing how much damage a Saigon can do by shape-shifting and what they actually wanted. And then that whole Doctor speech about war is just absolutely phenomenal. I just absolutely do love that kind of speech he does, where he goes, "You call this a war, this funny little thing? This is not a war. I fought in a bigger war than you will ever know. I did worse things than you can ever imagine. Every time I close my eyes, I hear more screams than anyone could ever be able to count. Can I tell you to do what without pain? Can I tell you you pull it? You hold it tight. It burns at the centre of you." I just love the way Capaldi delivers that anti-war speech. So this is in 8th place. I just absolutely love this episode. So 7th place, I have to say this, is The Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Now, I have done a review on this recently. I yesterday. I do love this episode. It's the introduction story to River Song. You got the whole scary plot with Fashion Rider. Hey, who turned on the lights? I just so love this two-part. It's absolutely brilliantly well done. And the way River sacrifices herself for her future with the Doctor is done perfectly so well, considering her basically last episode in Doctor Who is coming up soon. I just really do love this episode. It's just such a fantastic classic episode of Doctor Who. The way the Fashion Rider can actually just strip down your flesh while you're wearing a spacesuit and eat you alive, and leaving your bones and then taking over that body. It's just such a scary moment, an iconic moment, and always count the shadows. Where I like where the Doctor goes with the Sonic Studio, goes, Santarans, back of the neck, the Dalek, the Eye Stalk, Fashion Rider, you run. You just run. So, yeah, my favourite in 7th place, Science and Library and Forest of the Dead. So, in 6th place, it is Asylum of the Daleks, and it is an absolutely doozy of an episode. I love Asylum of the Daleks. So, in this, you have the Daleks kidnapping the Doctor, Amy, Rory, taking them onto a Dalek prison ship, where they meet the empowerment of the Daleks, and they want the Doctor to do a mission for them by going on to the Asylum planet of the Daleks. Now, what can I tell you about this episode I love so much? They bring back classic Daleks, for fuck's sake. Classic Daleks. It is such an amazing episode. It is the return of the classic Daleks. We see some Daleks from the 60s, the 70s, 80s with the special weapons Dalek, and the 2005 Daleks. I just love this, and it's the last appearance we have of the Paradigm Daleks. I just so love this fantastic episode. It's only one episode, but it's like a whole Dalek frustration. Every single version of the Daleks. Now, I would say, yeah, this is the first time they came back, because the second time they came back was in the Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. But I don't like them two stories as much as I love this one, because this one brought back the classic Daleks. So, 6th place, Asylum of the Daleks. Now we're into my top 5 favourite Steven Moffat episodes, and in 5th place it is Heaven Sent. So the image should be coming up round about now. I love Heaven Sent. So the Doctor is then trapped inside his convention diary after having to watch Clara die by Clara's own mistake, by saving Rigsy, where the Doctor loses his temper a little bit, where, like in Face to Raven, I love it goes, fix this now to Maisie Williams. And she says, it's not possible you can. It goes, yes, it is, you can, and you're going to, or this street will burn. I'll bring you, I'll bring the side guns. No, give me it, I can do better than that. I'll bring the Daleks. And there's something, you will save Clara, and you'll do it now, or I will rain hell on you for the rest of the time. I can do whatever the hell I like. You read the stories, you know who I am. In all that time, did you hear about anybody who ever stopped me? And I just love when Capaldi goes, the Doctor is no longer here, you're stuck with me, and I'll end you and everything you care about. And then he gets trapped, sent away into his convention diary by the Time Lords, just so that they can try and break the truth out of him about the hybrid. I just love this episode so much. The Doctor is on his own, trapped. I love it where he goes out of the machine, he goes, if you ever had any part of killing her, and then he goes, I'm the Doctor, I'm coming to find you. And I'm never ever gonna stop. I just love that. And then you got that creature that like kills goes to kill him for the truth. I like it. It goes, I didn't root for Gallifrey because I was bored. I ran because I was scared. And that whole thing just reverts itself. I love how the Doctor dies so many times. He's in this for over 4.5 billion years. Different versions of him are in here trapped. They die, and then because he reboots himself, trying to break through the Shepherd's Boy, like this big massive wall, and he literally just smashes it through and ends up on Gallifrey. I just really do love this episode. It's so fantastic the way it connects, like Glees from Face the Raven straight into this, and it is a fantastic episode. Capaldi is on top notch. The Time Lords want information about the hybrid, and I love it when you got that scene where he goes, where the Doctor's back on Gallifrey and he goes, the hybrid is me. I just so love that episode. So in 5th place, Heaven Sent. So in 4th place, for my favourite episode of Doctor Who, written by Steven Moffat, it is the husbands of River's song. So yeah, you basically have River doing what she normally does, causing trouble, married another person named King Hydrofax, just because he's got a diamond stuck in his head. So she basically wants to get the diamond and sell it on to the people like half faces, which we see later on in another Christmas episode. I absolutely just love this episode because you have Peter Capaldi's whole reaction to the TARDIS, like he's got to pretend he hasn't been in the TARDIS before to River. It's like, my God, I just love how Capaldi does that sort of escalating thing. I just really love it. I just think it's absolutely a fantastic episode. The way you have so much River with so much fun with the episode with River not knowing who the 12th Doctor is, and then when it clicks in the head that he's the Doctor, he goes, "You are so doing those roots." I just love the whole chemistry between River and the 12th Doctor. And in the course of this episode, he gives her own sonic screwdriver because he knows after this adventure, this time he sees her, she ends up going to the library where she dies, which I've already spoke about in the Forest of Dead. She dies in that one. So this is a nice way to, that literally Forest of Dead straight after this one, but it was broadcast way before with the 10th Doctor. So I just absolutely do love the Husbands of River song. It's just such an iconic episode. So in third place, it is no other than Time of the Doctor. There's a fantastic finale episode written by Steven Moffat. Now this deserves to be my third favourite place because it's just such another iconic episode of Doctor Who. In a way, you kind of like, you have little bits of plots from series 5 and 6 left over, so it literally clues it all into this, where you got Gallifrey inside a parallel universe trying to just get through our universe in the crack in space and time. That was created by the Chapel of Kavari, where they destroyed the 11th Doctor's TARDIS in the Pandorica Opens, but the 11th Doctor rebooted the whole universe and allowed it to go on. And then you actually have the whole bit with River Song where that is mentioned, and that's another kind of a good way to bring that one back in as well. It's just such a fantastic episode, and you see the whole battle of Trenzalore. You have you have Daleks, Cybermen, a wooden Cyberman. You have the Silence standing with the Doctors that are trying to kill him, like they have done in Series 6. And of course, you have two Santarans that just get blown up. I just really do love this episode, and the town that's coming through the stress call is actually called Christmas. I just absolutely love it. It's just such a fantastic Christmas episode. So third place, the Time of the Doctor. So in second place, it is Twice Upon a Time. Two versions of the Doctor, William Hartnell, David Bradley, done absolutely fantastic. Well, William Hartnell unfortunately is dead, so David Bradley plays William Hartnell, but yeah, the way you collude it with like Twice Upon a Time and the 10th Planet for Hartnell for the first Doctor is done absolutely iconic and brilliantly. I do love that episode with those two. With Rusty, the only thing I don't like is when the Doctor finds out through Rusty that the testimony is nothing bad. He can't stop it. It's nothing even that's villainous. He goes, "It's not an evil plan. I don't know what to do." No, it's not an evil plan. I just love how the Doctor says that, but it really bugs me a little bit. The little reference to the soldier in World War One, that is actually the Brigadier's great-great-grandfather. I absolutely do love that. So yeah, second place, Twice Upon a Time. So, my all-time favourite Steven Moffat episode is got to be The Day of the Doctor. I just love Day of the Doctor. It's such a fantastic multi-Doctor story. I mean, you got the War Doctor, played by John Hurt in the Time War. You got David Tennant in with Queen Elizabeth I with the Zygons. And then you got the 11th Doctor with modern day Unit, and Clara in the modern day also find out about the Zygons. So it's a very, very kind of good ploy they've done it. And of course you have all 13 Doctors come to save Gallifrey. I just love that whole scene where he goes, "Calling the War Council of Gallifrey, this is the Doctor. You might say, I've been doing this for all my lives. Good luck, ready?" I just so love all that scene with all the Doctors. When I first watched it, I was like, no way! Oh, just love it. And then when Tom Baker comes back into the end of it as the caretaker, the creator of the underground London Gallery, I do love that. My this is my all-time favourite episode. The only bit that had me off my seat when I first watched this in November 2013 was when you have all the 13 Doctors come to save the Gallifrey, and I was like, oh. Now, I watched this before my dad did, and I had to stay up in my room while my dad watched it because I didn't want to ruin it for him. I just love this episode so much. That scene. No, sir. There's 13. I just so love that. When you got Capaldi coming in for the first time with his eyes. Boom! Such an iconic moment. I do love it. So this is my 10 favourite Doctor Who episodes written by Steven Moffat. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe and share. And let me know in the comments, what is your 10 favourite episodes written by Steven Moffat? Thank you for watching and have a good evening.